Good afternoon, everyone, and to our instructor, Mr. Roberto Ablao, a pleasant afternoon. We are the Group 2, and this is our narrative report on Module 7, 8, and 9. And I am Angeline M. Carion, B.Ed 4A, and this is my report. Historical interpretation. It is the process by which we describe, analyze, evaluate, and create an explanation of the past event. Also, by historical interpretation, it explains why and how things happened as they did and why particular elements in the past are important. Historical multi-perspectivity. It refers to the epistemological idea that history is interpretational and subjective, with multi or coexisting narrative about particular historical events rather than history being objectively represented by closed narrative. It enables us to see the whole picture. It enables us also to find the root of the problem and find the solution. It brings a more complex, complete, and richer understanding of the past. It makes the study of perspective central rather than peripheral. Thank you.
Hi, good day to everyone. My name is Melody Echo, B.Ed 1A. Today, I will be discussing the advantage of historical interpretation. Historical research is a process of collecting and interpreting data about the past event or ideas in order to find how they affected the present event and ideas. It studies possible reasons behind certain events to explain their influence on the events that followed. Historical research may not just help to figure out connections between past and present events. It can also provide the researchers with information regarding possible future events.
Continuation of the discussion. First, I am Mikara Rodessa May. Let's proceed to the disadvantage of historical interpretation. The disadvantages are when the major challenges to historical interpretation revolve around the problems of source, knowledge, explanation, objectivity, choice of subject, and the peculiar problems of contemporary history. The problem of source is a serious challenge to the historian in the task of reconstructing the past, when source may not be reliable and may represent misleading facts about the event. Not all past events can be studied because of the lack of evidence and source materials. Get more challenging to have research if the events are more distant past. People's ability to remember facts is limited. The information may be subjected to distortion. It is likely to have people biases exaggeration. The information may change over a period of time. Finding a reason for certain event does not mean that the same reason can lead to similar event, because it may happen in a totally different circumstance in the past. The research may last longer depending on the historical event and data ability. May require travel between various destinations, a research that must have control over the result. The problem is, you will never know ahead of time what you will find. This has two sub-issues. You might not able to find what you need to solve your research question. So you keep on searching and searching, and you might find out that things were not the same. That all. Thank you.
Good day, my name is Vinamay Odevera from B.Ed 1A, and I will discuss to you why is multi-perspectivity is better than historical interpretation. So, multi-perspectivity is an important instrument for increasing historical learning and thought, as well as prerequisite for all citizens living in a multicultural societies. It is critical to analyze issues from any viewpoints in order to have a full picture of the situation, which will help us to identify the main cause of the problem and devise a solution that takes everyone's wants and feelings into account. So multi-perspectivity is better than historical interpretation because it do not provide for space to inquire and examine. Exploring many perspectives in history necessitates incorporating source materials that reflect several perspectives on a historical event. So distinct historical agents produce different historical facts, and while this might be a time-consuming task for historians, it also gives historical knowledge more credibility. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, I am Liza Kikolares from BEd 1A. So, I am the one who explained why multi-perspectivity is better than historical interpretation. The reason why multi-perspectivity is better than historical interpretation, that because multi-perspectivity is defined as a way of looking at historical events, personalities, developments, cultures, and societies from different perspectives. This means that multitude of ways by which can be viewed the world, and each could equally valid and equally partial as well. While the historical interpretation is biased and contains preconception, some historians decides on what sources to use because of that some historians there are misinterpret the evidence.
Why multiperspectivity is better than historical interpretation? It gives a more complicated, detailed, and comprehensive perspective of the past because individual historical narrative does not allow for in-depth inquiry and investigation. They can be used to demonstrate the consistency of acts, illustrate multiple views on the same event, and reflect the human condition in compelling ways. Exploring many perspectives in history necessitates the use of source materials that reflect different perspectives on a historical event.
Good day everyone, I am Felicity Faye Cruz and I'll state the reason why Philippine history full of spaces and controversies. So, conflicts and controversies will always exist in history and in life. This is because of the different perspective and point of views of different historians and different people. This may also be caused by the different ways and various ways to understand and analyze the situation, an event, and history. Moreover, the dispute in the history of the Philippines may also be caused by an individual who is not properly trained to analyze and to understand the history. To analyze and to understand the history similarly in life, we do not just look at things or different situations with just our own perspective, but we consider different point of views and opinions from the other people. So, spaces and controversies in the history of the Philippines has allowed us to build a deeper understanding and knowledge on how their conflicts and controversies happened in the past. Moreover, it has allowed us to view things and understand things from a multiple perspective to know what is the truth and what is problem. Thank you.
Reason why Philippine history full of spaces for conflict and controversies. And let's find it out. While we're all aware with well-known disputes like Jose Rizal's retractions, Luna's assassination, and so on, there are a few lesser-known issues that are definitely worth investigating. They do, after all, play a role in Philippine history. Historians frequently find conflicting data on the same issue, when conducting primary research. New information leads to new conclusions are subsequently challenged. History is the study of the past, but a more modern definition focuses on how it affects the present through its consequences. Jeffrey Baraclough described the history as the endeavor to uncover the significant facts about the past based on fragmented evidence. He also points out that while the history we read is founded or facts, it is strictly speaking not factual but a series of accepted judgment. Historians' opinions on how the past should be viewed forms basis of historical interpretation.
What makes Philippine history full of spaces for conflict and controversies? By building a deeper understanding of how historical events and conflicts have influenced U.S. and world history over the past 5,000 years. Issues and controversies in history is essential for undergraduates studying history, political science, writing journalism, economics, sociology, speech and debate, and many other subjects. In the Philippines, conflict and violence are generated by poverty, inequality, both political power and economic resources in the hands of an elite, marginalization, and poor governance. One of the major problems in the writing of Philippine history systems from inadequate knowledge of historical conditions in the rural Philippines. The problem is further complicated by a tendency to treat society as a monolithic structure, as susceptible to outside influence and change at a uniform rate.
Good day everyone, my name is Jamina Picarinan from BE Ed 1A, and this is the discussion about explain how multi-perspectivity rectify the extreme side of error of historical interpretation. Multi-perspectivity defined as a way of looking at this historical event, personalities, developments, cultures, and pale societies from different perspectives. This means that there is multitude of ways by which we can view the world, and each could be equally valid and at the same time equal partial as well. Multi-perspectivity have a huge contribution to the different historical interpretation of one's evidence. Through the help of multi-perspectivity, who have a different perspective to know more better on evidence.
So, good evening everyone. I am Jenny Evangelio from BE Ed 1A. So, for the continuation of the report, I will discuss how multi-perspectivity rectify the extreme side of error of historical interpretation. In the context of history education, the notion of multi-perspectivity refers to the epistemological idea that the history is interpretational and subjective, with multiple coexisting narratives about particular historical events, rather than history being objectively represented by one closed narrative. So, it brings a more complex, complete, and richer understanding of the past. It can be used to show corroboration of acts, to show diverse perspectives of single events, and to showcase the human condition in compelling ways. So that's all. Thank you for listening in our report.